this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill
Wait
no
a
one.
second.
Oh, no.
We return to our planet. The High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, you're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobukijake,
Hi.
and we're here to show you what we got.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
So we got a lot going over this week. Of course, I will have Jake start us off this time because it was me that started us off last time. So
I believe so. And I don't have anything near as spectacular as I did last week. But, what I do have are a couple of small orders I made from our friend of the channel, Dane, who's wrapping up his August in Wonderland, I think, the day before this airs, isn't it? It'll be wrapping up. But he likes to put stuff up for sale occasionally, and I placed a couple of orders.
actually, it'll because 31st it'll air. It'll be ending the day this goes up.
Okay, yeah, something like that. I thought he only had one video left. But...
He does, but he usually does a recap.
Oh,
On the last day,
right.
so.
You're right. One last video to look at. Anyway, yeah. So, the orders. I did 2 orders from them. And we're going to go ahead and present both of them. It's going to be a little bit of a lull between, hopefully, 2 really awesome weeks, because I got what could be a really awesome one next go around. But we wanted to do just a shorter one tonight. And the first one is a film from a very respected and polarizing director who, strangely enough, we got the announcement, I think this week, of the new Criterion releases. And we're finally getting a 3rd film from Spike Lee.
Yay.
That's pretty sad that they're only up to 3. But Malcolm X is finally coming out. I'm definitely picking that up. And actually, that November, the slate looks friggin' awesome overall. I got Power of the Dog, the Infernal Affairs trilogy. For those who don't have it yet, In the Mood for Love. It's going to be a good month. So, this is not Malcolm X, but it's another Spike Lee joint. One of his weirder films. I saw it and I didn't honestly know what to make of it. If I remember correctly, it was a musical, which was one of the reasons it was weird. And it's a movie called Chirac, or Chirac. I can't remember. Is it Chi or Chai? And it's referring to Chicago. You know,
I think it's Chirac, but it could be wrong.
Well, like I said, it's referring to Chicago. And how do people usually, is it Chi-Town or Chi-Town?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get some flack for not knowing the proper pronunciation, but it has been a few years since I've seen this.
They have good pizza.
Regardless, you got an interesting cast here. Nick Cannon, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Hudson, Angela Bassett, John Cusack, and Samuel motherfucker Jackson. Spike Lee joint. It is a strange film, but it was a good one. And it's definitely one of his more unambiguously political films. And that's saying something. But it's good to get it in the collection. I look forward to eventually seeing it again.
Well, of course, I start off with video games, as I usually do. And I end on anime, so it's going to be as I usually do. So we're starting at the video game. Now, Square has been doing, not Square, but Nintendo has been partnering with a lot of stuff with their Switch and RPG releases. And one that was a Super Nintendo RPG that got released is Live Alive. This used to be one that was on the SNES and then got repackaged with some 2D, 3D stuff. I've heard that it looks really good. It never came to the West. Speaking of never came to the West, this is an actual Japanese copy.
Oh.
But the Switch is not region locked. And it apparently automatically detects whether I need English because it went right into English language when it went on. So it's kind of cool. It's got a little bit of artwork on the side here. One of these days I'm going to get like the English language artwork to put up on top of it so they'll have it. But still, I mean, that's pretty cool to actually have a couple Japanese copies of games.
Yeah.
And I've heard this is really good as far as RPGs are concerned, so I do look forward to it. You play as multiple protagonists, a la Saga Frontier style, and you go through the different stories, and I'm going to guess they connect through time and eventually.
Cool.
And
All right, so next up, we have a film directed by and starring Ben Stiller. This is an upgrade for me. I did have it on DVD and now have it on Blu-ray. Very amusing film that was a pretty big deal when it came out. It's Tropic Thunder, which features Stiller as a somewhat over-the-hill action star. Jack Black is a substance-abusing comedian who's really not that funny. And Robert Downey Jr. as a controversial method actor who's, for his latest film, has actually surgically applied blackface. That's... yeah. But he nailed the role and got an Oscar nod for it. And the best part of the film probably is the opening where they show trailers for the most recent films. And I love the trailer for his film with Tobey Maguire. I can't remember what it was called, but it was great. And this one, of course, also gives us a bit of a taste of Oscar bait film from Stiller's character, a little film called Simple Jack that never should see the light of day. And a highly talked about and very amusing foul-mouthed turn from a nearly unrecognizable Tom Cruise. This is a film that is not without its controversy, but it was pretty damn funny. Jack Black was in the film, but otherwise it was a solid film, and I look forward to having an excuse. Well, I'm glad to have an excuse to see it again, you know.
well, yeah, that's one. It's odd because that's one I would have thought that Robert Downey Jr. would have been canceled for doing that part ages ago.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, people are kind of more confused on it than actually hating on it. So
Well, I mean,
kind of
part of it is they deflate it in the movie. They talk in the movie about, hey, you know, man, that just ain't right.
So, going back into the archive, so to speak, of stuff I never showed off when I was, well, before the channel, basically. I went ahead and I picked up this lovely gem I gotten at Walmart many years ago. And that is 8213 Gacy House.
Lovely.
What was found will haunt you. And then, of course, it has a bonus movie called Central State Asylum of the Insane, but not our Central State.
Oh.
But both films are interesting. I really did like the first film. It's a found footage, essentially, of these people going into the Gacy house and then having a very bad experience. And, of course, those you don't know who Gacy is, John Wayne Gacy was a pretty nasty serial killer. And then there is the Central State Asylum for the Insane. Dan T. Hall and his crew of experts take an exclusive tour through the grounds of the abandoned Central State Mental Institution in Indianapolis. In their quest to uncover the asylum's supernatural history, the team interviews former staff and an ex-patient to find out what really happened behind closed doors. And I believe this one's more of a documentary, but
That's
it was
what
a
I was
fun one.
wondering.
It was a fun one. I really enjoyed both of these thoroughly for the $4 that it probably cost me back in the day, because there were those ones. they had the $5 bin, and they had like this cheaper one
Yeah.
back in the day. And this was in that one. And you know what? I really enjoy it. Some of these are really hard to find these days because some of the ones that go in there, like I remember Drop Dead Fred. That's one that everybody's trying to get now. And even Vinegar Syndrome's regular one is supposedly going out of print. And that one was in the $5 bin for the longest time. So
Yeah, I remember those times. You could see that anytime you went to the movie store. You could see it all the time. Okay, the next one is one that I know was another Oscar-nominated film. It's one that I know that the two of us actually watched together a long while ago when we were, I think when you were still at your apartment. And it was like one of those years where there was a lot of Oscar watching there. And if I'm remembering correctly, this is a friggin' depressing movie. But it is one that I needed to get, because it's an Oscar-nominated film with some excellent performances and whatever. And that's a movie called Rabbit Hole, which has Nicole Kidman, Aaron Eckhart, and Diane Weist. I want to say Kidman was the nominee for this one. Might have been more than that. You've also got Miles Teller's in that? That must have been one of his first films. Giancarlo Esposito and Sandra Oh. Basically, it's about a couple dealing with loss. Let's put it that way. And like I said, I believe this was the same year as Blue Valentine. And if I remember correctly, I think both of those left us both going,
yeah, that was definitely.
But I'm glad to have it at least.
Well, another oldie, but one I'm hoping to one day replace with a better quality one, and that is one of two Alfred Hitchcock collections. I'll probably show the other one off next time, which is Alfred Hitchcock Legends of Hollywood. This one actually has most of his old films. This was a $5 one as well.
I do kind of like the cover art. It's kind of amusing.
The quality of the films is kind of iffy, but it has Young and Innocent, Blackmail, Juno and the Peacock, Rich and Strange, The Ring, not that ring, Lodger, The Secret Agent, The Lady Vanishes, The Man Who Knew Too Much, the original one, Sabotage, Champagne, and Murder.
I was going to say, aren't all these like from his London days before he came to... Yeah, so they're old ones.
So they're the older ones, and it's got this kind of nice little thing here. You get to see some of his stuff there. And you can see they're both like double-sided. Not exactly the best condition. I mean, that one has like a big old scratch over it. And I really need to get a better...
Yeah, I do not like that case.
Scratch. But, it is what it is. Until I can get a better collection, it's probably going to be all I got with it for now for some of those.
And it doesn't take up a lot of space for that many movies.
A lot of these movies are out in other formats or better formats. The problem is all of them are not.
Is that the same version of Lady Vanishes that has the Criterion release?
I think so, yeah. Because he only did one, I think.
He remade so many of his movies, I lose track.
I know he redid The Man Who Knew Too Much.
Right.
He didn't redo The Lodger. The Lodger was redone by somebody else.
Right. And I don't think... He did Sabotage and Saboteur.
Yeah.
But I don't... Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's kind of confusing. Okay. I believe those first three I showed were one order, I think. And I believe the other four that I have here are second order. And actually, Dane's pretty cool. He'll sometimes throw in bonuses. I actually made him an offer. I told him there were four I was interested in. We discussed pricing. I told him I'll hold off on the fourth one. And he sent it anyway. So, that was pretty cool. The first one was actually one that we've covered on Inside Movies Galore, and it's actually easily one of the newest, at the time of its release, was one of the newest films we had covered. This was one that Dustin put forward, and that was a creature feature called Crawl.
Good one.
It was a good one. I quite liked it. A lot more than I expected to, although it is produced, I believe, by Sam Raimi, so... That says something right there. Directed, though, by Alexandre Aja. This basically is about a girl, Haley, a young woman, who's played by Kaya Scodelario, who, in the midst of a approaching hurricane in Florida, is trying to get in touch with her father. She can't get in touch with him. And the two of them end up having to deal with a whole bunch of really pissed off alligators while also dealing with a hurricane. Not a scenario most of us want to be.
No, indeed.
But it was a good film. I actually was impressed by it, and I was happy to get a copy.
Very cool. This next one is kind of a second part. They revived the Are You Afraid of the Dark series, and they had 2 seasons. So they're not really much of seasons there. But there's a second one is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Curse of the Shadows. So that's the other season of the revival. It has some episodes. This one actually does have episodes on it. It's like Tale of the Haunted Woods, Tale of the Night Frights, Tale of the Phantom Light, Tale of the Dense Macabre, Tales of the Midnight Magic, and Tales of the Dark House. So, I guess trying to revive that Midnight Society glow there. I like the original one, and I didn't watch it really fully until I was an adult, so it comes across well for children and adults, though. It's interesting to watch if you want to take a look back on that type of thing. I know you weren't really much for Nickelodeon, but did you ever hear about Are You Afraid of the Dark when you were in school?
Not really. No.
You were not much of a horror person, were you? You wouldn't. You would have been more like. Actually, you probably wouldn't have done Goosebumps, would you?
The Goosebumps thing was more that it really hit its stride when I was already a year or two too old to really, get into it. I did see some Goosebumps, and I was familiar with it. But no, again, we did not have cable growing up, so what I knew of Nickelodeon was what my friends talked about, and none of them talked about Are You Afraid of the Dark? So, yeah. Anyway, next up, speaking of things to be afraid of in the dark, is a movie that was an upgrade. Again, I had it on DVD, and again, this is one we covered on Movies Galore, and I've always had mixed feelings about it, but this was an opportunity to upgrade not just to Blu-ray, but to 4K, theoretically. Not that I'll get to play it on 4K for some time, but, I've got a Blu-ray in the meantime, and that is Bram Stoker's Dracula, which, if nothing else, it is a pretty film.
That's a nice...
I'd really like to see what it looks like cleaned up. Have you watched it on a higher format, or how did you watch it?
I think I have my DVD.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see. No, I did upgrade to Blu-ray.
Yeah. And I do have to admit, I need to see it again anyway, because when we covered it for Movies Galore, I had one of my narcoleptic fits while I was watching it, so I probably watched about half of it for that discussion. Again, it's never been my favorite. I feel like Coppola was going for something really operatic with this one, which worked in some ways and not in others. But still, and Gary Oldman is definitely awesome as Dracula, so, it's worth a look.
Hey, Phoebe.
Hey, Phil.
So, I have a Nickelodeon series that I think you will know.
Yeah.
And that is Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
So I went ahead and I got this because I wanted to upgrade, because my first one was like the first run release DVDs, and then Korra was like part Blu-ray, part DVD. It was all over the place, and this kind of thins them both out.
So you should mention, of course, that is Legend of Korra in addition to Avatar.
Yes, well, they're both Avatar in a way.
Yeah.
Really and truly, it's kind of an Avatar Series 1 and Avatar Series 2 in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little set. It's not the nice steelbooks that they came out with.
No.
But it is on Blu-ray.
Cool.
And it does have some pretty cool art. And you've got the 2 releases here. So it's much sturdier than the DVDs I have. And I do look forward to seeing Avatar again and maybe
Is that a fat
finishing
booklet
stories.
in there as well?
Yes, there's
That's
an
kinda
art book
cool.
in there.
Cool.
Well, actually, art cards, I should
Oh,
say.
cards. Okay. Still cool.
So, some pretty cool stuff. And I like that artwork on the front. It's pretty cool. So, yes, I'm pretty sure you have heard of this one.
Oh, yeah. Although, again, I probably only heard about it. I didn't really see it until later. And it is worth noting as well, this Dracula does have some pretty good amount of bonus features on there, so that's kind of cool. Foo, you are just really being too much, aren't you?
My attention.
Okay, so the one that was the bonus. Okay, this is one that I'm almost sure I'm adding to the collection. I'm almost sure I don't have a copy. Because it's one of those movies that has been available, as you were saying with Drop Dead Fred. There are those movies that you just keep seeing over and over again, and you don't really pay them much mind because you're like, oh, I'll get you next time.
Yeah.
And this was a movie that, again, a lot of people in our generation grew up with, but I kind of didn't really. So I don't have the nostalgia that a lot of people do. So I didn't want to pay a lot for it, and this was like a collector's edition, I think, so I didn't want to pay a lot for it, but Dane threw it in anyway, so. And that is Poltergeist, and it's a pretty cool, like, book edition of the film, which I love this case. It's really cool looking, and it actually does have, you know, a nice little booklet in there. You open it up, it looks like a TV static screen. I don't remember what, if anything, this has for bonus features, but I'm pretty sure it has a lot. This, of course, is an old film produced by Steven Spielberg, but directed by Tobe Hooper. You got some Craig T. Nelson's in there. Good film. Definitely, like I said, a nostalgic favorite for a lot of people. I think I've seen it all the way through once or twice. I know I saw bits and pieces growing up, but I'm very glad to finally have it, and I do like this edition. And yeah.
Well, my next, which is now we're on to the animes. So, the first one is one that you showed off last week. Which is an anime movie, Bang Dream, Film Live.
Nice.
Just so happened this came up in the, basically in the alphabet for the movies, so it's actually kind of funny that it got in there.
Yeah.
I've got the rest of the Bang Dream series, but that'll come separately. Probably be seeing it soon, though, because Bananya is not that far from Bang in the alphabet, so to speak.
Bananya.
So we'll see how that goes. But Jake talked about this last week, so what he said.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think you showed. Did you show this one last week in the picture? Okay, well, I won't be showing that one.
Wait, you mean the thumbnail?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think so. Yeah. Okay, so at the other end of the alphabet, this is one of the ones that triggered this purchase in the first place. Crawl was another one. I was like, I really need to get Crawl. But the other one is a film that's actually, from what I've seen, pretty rare in the wild. I'd never even heard of the movie until I saw it at the library, and I checked it out because I had to check it out. It looked good, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film, but it's a rare one. You don't see it a lot, so I jumped at the chance to get it, and that is a film called Z for Zachariah.
Cool.
Which is, as you can see, stars Chiwetel Ejiofor, Margot Robbie, and Chris Pine, which that's a pretty interesting cast right there. It's a post-apocalyptic film, but it's not the barren wasteland type apocalyptic film. If I remember correctly, I think so it's after a nuclear war, so nuclear fallout definitely affected negatively the human populace, but in this film there's still plenty of scenery, a living creature and plant, whatever. But at any rate, Margot Robbie plays a young woman who's basically been on her own for some time, doing just fine. And then she comes across a scientist played by Ejiofor. And then not too long after, she comes across this other guy who's played by Pine. And obviously it's one of those kind of, who can you really trust kind of stories. Like I said, a post-apocalyptic story. It did feature some pretty solid acting. I liked it. And like I said, I was more than happy to add to the collection, if only for being something of a rare one. Plus, how many Z titles can you really find, you know?
Indeed. Well, my last one. Well, we covered Bananya last time.
All right.
So this time we'll be covering Bananya and the Curious Bunch. Hey, gotta keep going with the Bananyas. So,
Yes.
That's kind of cool. Get ready for a whole bunch of feline fun. So let's see. You think you know Bananya? Here's a dozen all-new adventures of everyone's favorite kitty that lives in a banana. As we visit with the Bananya and his colorful pals on their home planet at their foot of Mount Bananya. Our appealing feline buddy frolics with droopy-eared Bananya, visits the great elder Bananya, and trains in the forbidden martial arts with Ninja Bananya. You'll meet a Bananya bot, a buccaneer Bananya, a Bananya rock band, and a whole lot more as the endlessly curious cat investigates strange and exciting artifacts dropped by Meowtours. Toys, gadgets, and tasty treats from our planet. Yep. Sounds cute.
Yep. When are we going to get in the Empire?
Yeah, that's what we really need is an Empire. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and share. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.